Miss Sands has been making records since 1965, and in fact, she has a new EP out called Shine for Me. Evie Sands, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. How are you, Ghosty?
I'm doing good, thank you. I have to ask, what do you remember the most about growing up in Brooklyn?
Pizza. Just in general, New York pizza. Whenever I get back there, because I live in Los Angeles,
right,
and I have pretty much most of my life now. But anything that I'm doing with friends or business, or I still have some relatives who live there, and everyone will say, "Oh yeah, let's go out. What do you want to do?" And I go, "I want to have some great New York pizza." So that's my first go-to.
Right.
And just, I mean, more of, what would I say, like just city kind of living, because the years that when I was living there, I didn't live, let's say, like in Long Island or in the suburbs. I was more like the city, so the concrete and the nitty-gritty of just kind of living in like city life, if you will. The streets and the concrete and lots of crowds and New York pizza.
So you were a typical city kid. Did your life change dramatically once you started your recording career?
Well, it's kind of interesting. I always kept what I was doing to myself as a little kid, because it wasn't something that I did to either curry favor with friends or to try to, like kids do, a little social structure to try to make myself be important, or like with guys, I'm like the captain of the football team, so
right.
Hey, I'm doing this with music, it makes me something special. I kept it secret because it's such a part of my soul and who I am. I didn't want anything to mess with it or anybody to say anything about it. And so everything I did leading up to kind of getting my first records out there, only my one best friend, my one closest friend, knew what it was. And then I always remember we were just like sitting in a friend's car, like the parents' car, just sitting, they let us sit in it and we could listen to the radio.
Right.
And my song, my first record, came on the radio. And so my best friend said, I can't keep this like a secret anymore, because everybody was talking and they didn't hear the pre-announcement of, and now here is, such and such,
right,
mentioning my name. Said, I can't keep it in anymore. I have to say, hey, everybody, that's Evie. And they were like, yeah, right, sure. But that's sort of when the cat came out of the bag. I mean, a lot of my friends knew that I sang and goofed around and played and guitar. I mean, just little bits, because I couldn't hide that. But
right.
I think, just for my close friends, nothing was different, because at least on my end, I've never been. And still, I've never been different. There always are a few people that behave differently, and I don't know why they do, but they just do. But
right.
I think for the most part, it didn't really change, other than the fact that my own activities were different, because I was busy. That's all. My whole life I've just been consumed with music, so I wasn't as available maybe for a few of the activities that, like kids do, maybe after school or something.
Right.
I didn't care. I was just involved in music.
For a while there, you released several singles that looked as if they were going to be big hits, but in some cases, other artists would rush out their own versions, and that would kind of muddy the waters. In fact, we started off with one, Angel of the Morning. And it was your version of Any Way That You Want Me from 1969. That was really the big breakout hit for you, wasn't it?
Yes, fully and completely on a full national basis, yes. The others either were regional successes due to what you just alluded to. So, yes, Any Way That You Want Me was the first one that was able to break through completely on a national scope and be, I guess, a gold record, yeah.
And there was a nice profile on you in the British magazine Shindig recently, wasn't there?
Oh, yes. That was just in March or April.
It's interesting that over in Great Britain, records that you made back in the 60s got a whole new lease on life and became the platters du jour of the 90s and the 2000s.
Yeah, I love going over there. I'm looking forward to getting back over there, hopefully, fairly soon. It was a surprise initially when I found out, just like what you were talking about, that at some point, I don't remember exactly when, that I became aware of what was called a Northern Soul over in the UK.
Yes, right.
Which is surprising, exactly, just to find out that not only if it was something new, but something that had been released, X amount of years prior was, as you say, a favorite records of all these different people. So it's been fun going over there. I have just ton of friends, and the fans there are just great in the UK. They're really knowledgeable, and one thing that's a little different, if I might say, that's different from,
sure,
let's say, from the U.S., from audiences here, is the audiences there, yes, they're excited about whatever is new and whatever is current, absolutely, and the newest recording by a brand new artist or someone that they love and who come out with a new record. But they're not so concerned with, well, what have you done for me lately? Like, oh, yeah, that was like 6 months ago, and who cares?
Right.
It's truly like, if somebody did something, it could be 100 years ago, like one thing that they love, then it stays with them, and they revere that forever. And if that artist is around, whatever age number it may be, they're just as enthusiastic and appreciative of that as if it were literally the current thing on the charts right now, the brand newest thing. And there's just and they're really knowledgeable too. I found the audiences, they're very musically knowledgeable. And one last thing is they don't compartmentalize. This is generally speaking, kind of the way music used to be on radio here for us
right.
in the States, where, like, okay, there's Drake, and then, just fill in the blank of, like, every genre. It's just, this is kind of what people are listening to, rather than, oh, we have to compartmentalize it, and
right.
it can only be, this is only hip-hop, and this is only alt-rock, and this is only, and that's kind of the audiences there. They just enjoy all kinds of things together, so it really makes it fun to play for audiences like that. This is, again, in general, but it's been a lot of fun, and as I say, I'm really looking forward to getting back over.
Well, let's hear one of these Northern Soul records, as it's called today. And I guess this whole movement started with parties in Great Britain where they would break out these old records and, well, have a great time.
Yes, and because it was a little bit in the northeastern quadrant of England.
Right.
So that sort of helped, kind of for the name, I guess.
Here's Evie Sands with Picture Me Gone, 1966. We're back talking with Evie Sands today on the Vintage Rock and Pop Shop. We've talked about music of the past. Now let's bring it up to date and talk about new music. Your new EP is called Shine For Me, and I picked out a couple of tracks from this EP to play on the show and talk about, beginning with a beautiful acoustic song with a folk tinge called Rodeo. What can you tell us about that song?
Well, interesting. First of all, really quick, I probably never would have written it in that way, except, so my husband is a drummer, and he plays a little guitar, a little bit of guitar as well. And so he had his guitar set up in G tuning because of the movie, if you all remember the movie from about 2 or 3 years ago, The Descendants, which had a lot of the really beautiful Hawaiian music.
Right.
So he just kind of had this thing, and he wrote a song that was really just sweet, this beautiful instrumental, and he said, hey, would you like to learn how to play? And I was, yeah, I'd love it. So he was showing it to me, but then because I was messing around with his guitar setup in G tuning, suddenly I just kind of went to this other place and I went, ooh, what is this? I personally, prior to this song, always have used standard tuning on a guitar. I have never messed around and done anything in writing or any serious playing in alternate tunings.
Right.
So that set up, musically, that kind of set the thing up for me. And really, the song, it just sort of came out, and when I first heard it coming out, I thought, whoa. But I think it's partially I'm really talking to myself as well as to anybody listening. I mean, life in that sense is kind of a rodeo. It's like we all have to, as in the song, it's like grab the reins and just hold on tight, kind of hold on to our hat and keep going. And then obviously in life we fall down and we just have to pick ourselves up. And if we pick ourselves up and keep going, we're good.
Brand new music from Evie Sands here on the Vintage Rock and Pop Shop. It's funny, we were just playing a song from 1966, and that's a new one, and you sound as good as you ever have sounded, and in fact, I think you sound better.
Oh, thank you. Well, that kind of thing always is whatever gifts all of us are given, whatever they may be in this life. So I just say, as always, I'm grateful for that, and I could say that perhaps it's something genetic. I don't know. Partially because I could guess and say, well, I've never been a smoker, or I've never,
Right.
I can guess at all that stuff, but just to say I'm grateful, and I'm more than delighted just from within myself that I'm able to just continue to make music on all levels in a way up to my own standards.
Right.
So.
Well, you have on this EP, I want to play another cut from it, sort of a saucy song called Like a Rock. Tell us about that.
That one is kind of fun. I mean, I have that one on there. I consider that like a bonus track, really, on the album, and it's kind of it's like a kind of a rock bluesy kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of fun. It's just something fun that I've enjoyed. Once in a while, I played it out like a little bit, and it's just fun. I just wanted to do a bunch of like crazy, just put like tons of guitars on it, and so it's fun. But that truly is the one track on the new EP that I consider a bonus track.
Of course, I would choose the one that's a little off kilter.
Yes, no, and it's all, like they say, it's all good.
We're talking to singer-songwriter Evie Sands today, and do you have some shows in our area coming up soon? I don't
have the dates yet, or I would tell you now, but I will be having some dates kind of in your area. I think maybe it'll be sort of maybe October-ish.
Okay.
In that northeast area, like the New York City, I should say, and vicinity, and up, circling all around.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that, and I can have some New York pizza.
Yeah, you can go back and get some pizza. And where would people go? The new EP is Shine For Me. It's on Our Spot Records. Where would people go to get it and to find out more about you and when you're coming to this area? Well,
for sure. Anything anybody wants to know, they can go to my website, which is eviesands.com. There's also that's probably the easiest to remember. There's also
right.
an ourspotrecords.com website. And as far as being available, it's available in stores, but not everywhere, and that's because initially we did a special vinyl release to coincide with Record Store Day at the end of April.
Right.
And now that we also have CDs, we also are about to do the last but not least, a digital release, of course, for streaming and download.
Right.
And we're going to release a single. I've almost decided, but we still waiting just a tiny bit longer to decide which will be the first single. So at some point in the very near future, both digital and physical will be available, that kind of everywhere, anywhere, sort of thing.
Right.
But at the moment, for sure, everything can be filtered through my website, and certainly tour dates, updated. And the only one I can tell you now is I am playing the Ponderosa Stomp in New Orleans, which is the beginning of October.
Okay.
I think that's like October 5 through 7 or something like that. But then, thereafter, there's a bunch of stuff that's just all being coordinated, so it would be right around where you are.
Very cool. Well, I want to thank you so much for not only sharing your music with us today and some great stories, but spending a little bit of time talking about the past, present, and future, potential pizza in your future, among other things. And I want to thank you so much and have a great rest of your day.
Oh, well, I would like to thank you for having me. It's absolutely a pleasure. It's lovely to talk with you, and hi to everybody, and hope to see you and everybody soon, and I, as always, really much appreciate it. And you have a great rest of the day, too.